Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Busy day today, guys. Welcome. We're studentloanjustice.org. We're the oldest, largest, first, and only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for normal people. We are normal people fighting for other normal people and ourselves. Welcome. We've got over 1.4 million members now. You wouldn't know, but we're actually kind of a big deal, despite appearances. It was this group that is responsible for multiple pieces of very good legislation to have come out over the past few years. We came so very close last year to actually getting the constitutionally enshrined right of bankruptcy returned to student loans. If you're new to the group, you probably don't want to file for bankruptcy. Well, I've got news for you. Nobody on this group wants to file for bankruptcy, but it lies at the core of the student loan problem. This may not make sense to you, but whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy, we've got to get that constitutionally enshrined leverage back on our side if we're going to see anything good happen with your student loans. Whether you want loan cancellation, whether you want a break on interest, whether you want some other middling solution for your student loan problem, it all starts with bankruptcy. As long as that power is denied us, we're not going to see anything meaningful, not from Joe Biden or any other president in terms of loan cancellation or anything else that you would like to see. Please remember that. It was also, speaking of cancellation, it was also this group that brought the concept of canceling student loans by executive order into the public conversation in the first place. It was way before anybody was talking about student loan cancellation. We started a petition calling for exactly that. It's a very sexy concept. The loans can be canceled without needing one dime from the Treasury, without adding one nickel to the national debt. And the lending system itself is so catastrophically failed. The loans can be canceled tomorrow very easily and very cheaply. In fact, all federally owned student loans, not just $10,000 or $20,000, every nickel of federally owned student loans, which is 87% of all student loan debt, could be canceled tomorrow. And the taxpayer, on balance, would be breaking about even. And remember also, take a step back and think back a little bit to 1965 when the lending program was rolled out. President LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, declared at that time when he was signing the Higher Education Act into law, he declared that the loans would be free of interest. Well, today, $100 billion a year clicks off in interest alone on our backs. We do not have to put up with this shit, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon my French, but we are a better citizenry than that. We're a better country than that. And whatever you want to see happen with your student loans, you came to the right place. So if I can see your questions or comments on Twitter or on Facebook, I will very happily respond to them. A tiny bit of news that I almost didn't even want to bring up today because it's so stupid. We've been doing this for 18 years, folks. We've seen all the tricks and the traps and the stalls and the delays and all the stunts. And we could have predicted, but indeed today, the Department of Education announced that, they're delaying canceling loans through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program and other revamped income-driven repayment methods that they rolled out in April of last year. So a lot of people were expecting that they'd get their loans canceled in 2023. Well, they put it off by a year, and who knows what that means. The one thing we do know on this group, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Department of Education has no desire or intentions of canceling any loans if it can possibly find a way to not cancel loans. This is the way it has always operated, and all the data suggests strongly that this is the way they still operate. So I'm asking you, take my word, and people, the old timers on this group who've been watching this problem for many, many years and decades. This is just one more shoe of this millipede to drop. The Department of Education will only cancel loans kicking and screaming. If they can find a way to not cancel loans, that is what they will do. They love this unconstitutionally predatory lending scam. Whatever you think about the Founding Fathers, they called for uniform bankruptcy laws, aka rights, ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army. So this all comes down to bankruptcy, guys, no matter what you may see. And this delay bullshit, pardon my French, that we saw from Department of Education is just one more in a very long series of stunts, whatever you want to call it, that the Department of Education plays on the citizens again and again and again to perpetuate this indefensibly failed, unconstitutionally predatory, big government loan scam on the citizens. So I don't even want to say anything more about it than that, because I'm just so sick of watching these nonsense gimmicks come and go, including Biden's student loan cancellation, by the way. I think that whole thing was designed to fail in the first place. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I want to talk to you about what we're doing, what's most important right now. First of all, we're asking everyone to get letters to the editor of their local newspapers published that call for the return of bankruptcy to student loans, number one, but also for the cancellation of all federally owned student loans. The lending system has failed and finished. Probably the best thing for all involved is just to erase all the loans, start over again. But this, again, as a practical matter, it all starts with bankruptcy. So get your letter to the editor published in your local paper. We can help you, by the way. You can PM me. You can send me an email, alan@studentloanjustice.org. I'm happy to give you some suggestions. Letters to the editor are not hard, guys. They're very easy to get published. We've already gotten 15 or 16 or 17 published in the past 3 weeks. So that's a very good start. But really, where the rubber really meets the road, guys, is meeting with legislators. We're also asking everyone, including and especially you, particularly if you're new to the group. This is a working, fighting group. We're not here for your entertainment. And if you came here to be amused and impressed, no, that's not. You should go. We don't want you here. If you're willing to do the work, what we need you to do is get us into a meeting with both of your senators and your House representative. We need to meet with them as early in this congressional session as possible. So we've already met with, I don't know, over a dozen members of Congress at this point so far this year. But guys, we should be not in the low dozens, but rather, we've got 535 people that we need to meet with. 435 House representatives and 100 senators. So we need to be doing way more of these meetings. You, as a constituent, are the only person that can make that happen. It's very hard for us to get in a meeting with a House representative if we don't live in the district. Very hard for us to get into a meeting with Senate staff if we don't live in the state. So only you can initiate that thing. Bring us into a phone conference or a Zoom meeting, and I can do most or all of the talking. We're really good at this. We've done it a few times, if you can't tell. We know the way forward, guys, and that's what we're good at. It does us no good to be sitting here not talking to members of Congress. That really is where this problem gets solved. So today, for example, we met with a Republican congressman, his staff, actually. I'm not going to say his name, but suffice it to say, we need to be doing much more of that. And in particular, if you live in a Republican district, we're a fiercely nonpartisan group. So, whatever your political stripes are, you're very welcome here. We pretty much hate both parties at this point for very good reason. But regardless, we would, if I had to pick, I'd say it would be much better for us right now, this session, to be talking to Republicans, but we need to talk to all members of Congress, all 535. So give them my name, Alan Collinge, ALANCOLLINGE. Give them my phone number, 202-594-1120. Give them my email address, alan@studentloanjustice.org, and tell them we would like to have a conference with them, and in particular, their judiciary staffer. And we want to talk about bankruptcy rights and student loans, or just we want to talk about student loans in general. That is your mission. And it's only going to happen when you make it happen. So many thanks go out to all the people who've been doing this, who've been writing their letters, and who've been getting us into good meetings with their members of Congress. But as I said, guys, we need to be doing way more. I would like to get into meetings with all 535 members of Congress before the end of the summer. So that's like what, about not even a couple hundred days. I would like to be meeting with 3 members of Congress every single day, Monday through Friday, every week. Even the weekends would be fine, but that's probably not going to happen. So please make it happen if you would. That alone may possibly be all that's needed to finally light all the fires that need to be lit in Congress to get this thing done. But we'll never know until you try. So one other quick announcement I need to make. Dudes, please donate. Pitch into our GoFundMe. We're doing a GoFundMe right now. Let me just see if I can dial that in. We're doing a GoFundMe. I believe you can see it scrolling below in the Chiron. Please do that, because not only do we have to have Zoom conferences with all these people, we need to travel the country. We need to visit very important states like Iowa, like South Carolina, like I think Michigan, a lot of the battleground states, Arizona, Georgia, very important. We need to travel the country. And the SLJ van, unfortunately, threw a rod last month. This was our van, is my van, and it's toast now, and we've got to replace it. So we've got to raise about $8,000, and I'm very glad to report that we're well over $4,000 at this point. In fact, as I'm talking to you right now, we have raised $4,905 from 162 people, thanks to everybody who has kicked in. We need to get this done, guys. We need to get this done sooner rather than later. So this is like a 2 or a little more week old fundraiser. So I'm thrilled that we've gotten as far as we have. But, over the past 5 days, things have slowed to a trickle. And come on, dudes, help us knock this sucker out so we can be on the road going to where we need to go and doing what we need to do. Yeah. And you can see all the stuff that if you're new to the group, you can see all the places we've been to in the past. Suffice it to say, us being able to get this van, which is really kind of a moving billboard, and you can see on the GoFundMe for yourself, it's a very powerful tool for us, and it's just critical. It's just absolutely critical. I would also say if you could just donate through our normal channels as well. Just please help, guys. Raising money has always been difficult for this group, but in particularly, it is very difficult right now this year. The Democrats really betrayed us last year, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a very tough year for us, tougher than last year. So if you were helping last year, we need you to help this year. I would say even harder, even more, if you can. And in particular, why I keep saying that, particularly if you have not been helping, if you're new to the group or whatever, you need to join us and help, because we will be absolutely baffled and bamboozled and defeated by our opposition if we don't fight way harder this year than we did last year. We were close last year. But, historic, and as I said, we're fiercely nonpartisan group. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you're very welcome in this group. But historically, the Republicans have tended to oppose us. That's just true. And now the Republicans have control of the House. So it is all the more important that people out there, including and especially you, if you've never helped in the past, it's all the more important that you help us and get your back into this fight with us. It feels good to fight this fight. And I think any of the established student loan justice warriors who've been getting their knuckles muddy and bloody over the past years, they will tell you it feels very good to fight this fight. we've got over 1 million members now. I don't know if I said that earlier. Got 1.4 million members on our group. And, on any given day, I only see a few hundred people doing anything. We need, if everyone in our group actually did our daily actions, for example, we would have this thing solved in probably a few months or less. Can you imagine if 1.4 million people were melting the phone lines of every congressman and senator in Washington, D.C. every day, overwhelming the Twitter accounts of every legislator in Washington, D.C. every day, and the media and others? Yeah, guys, we have a huge muscle to flex, huge. But that only matters when you help us flex it. So I don't know what more I can say. If I thought it would do any good to get on my knees and beg you, I would. But, these are your loans. This is your problem. I don't know what more I can say. If I thought it would do any good to get on my knees. These are your loans, and this is your problem. And we don't have the people to fight your battle for you. We are the people. You are the people. You're not better than us. Now, we came so incredibly close last year, and honestly, I think that was with not even close to 1% of our members actually doing anything. We need to get way better than that, dudes. If even 10% of our members were doing our daily actions, for example, and let me dial that in for you. Our daily actions right there. If even 10% of our members were doing that, that would be 140,000 people a day. That would also melt the switchboards in Washington, D.C. and overwhelm the Twitter accounts of whoever we chose to target. So if you forget everything I said tonight, remember and make it your goal to do our daily actions every day. And maybe once a week, you go to our website once a week and do the past week's worth of our daily actions. They're really quick, by the way. It's like mostly Twitter stuff. It's like retweet this, retweet that, and maybe like make a phone call. It's usually not even that. So you can usually do one day of our daily actions for, it takes less than a minute typically, maybe 2 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes at the most. Do that. It will help. And again, these are your loans. This is your problem. And we're glad that you're here, by the way. And I think you will find it very cathartic. I think you will sleep better at night when you're fighting with us rather than watching us and waiting and worrying and wringing your hands and wondering what the people in Washington, D.C. are going to do or not going to do. That's very unhealthy. We own this lending system. We could delete this lending system from existence if we wanted to. We're not begging for anything. We're not begging for loan forgiveness. We're not begging for any damn thing. We own this lending system. Don't forget that. We're demanding justice. And that should make you feel good because the founding fathers are on our side. The Constitution is on our side. The founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws, aka rights, ahead of the power to declare war in the Constitution, ahead of the power to raise an army in the Constitution. That's how important the founding fathers knew that bankruptcy rights were for having a healthy, free citizenry and a non-oppressive country. That's what freedom is all about, guys. And that's with very few people ever actually having to file bankruptcy. Like maybe even no one will actually have to file for bankruptcy when we get the right returned. It's just having the leverage of bankruptcy back on our side, which is so important in every way. So I hope that makes sense to you. I'm looking for your questions and comments now. Christina's with us tonight. Made it to the live stream. Time we send massive emails, letters, and more to every bank, lending instrument, credit bureaus, and Department of Education notifying them that our student loans are unconstitutional. Yeah, I would just, I would echo that. I would say, as you go forward talking to anyone about student loans, make sure that the word unconstitutional comes out of your mouth at least twice in every conversation that you're in. Because the loans are unconstitutional, make no mistake. And if this unconstitutional trick that they played with student loans, which is taking away bankruptcy rights, if this is allowed to stand, then the bad guys will extend this to any other kind of loans that they want, which is probably all of them that don't affect millionaires and billionaires. They would love to take bankruptcy away from credit cards. They would love to take bankruptcy away from medical debt. They would love to take bankruptcy away from unpaid taxes. They would love to take, you name it. There's nowhere that ends. And that is precisely what the founding fathers wanted to avoid when they called for uniform bankruptcy laws. So we stand at the front line of a very incredibly important battle. We cannot allow ourselves to be defeated. This is the camel's nose under the tent, guys, and it cannot stand. But the politics in this country are just so fucking terrible. It's a real danger, guys. It's a real threat. It's a real battle that we're in, not only for ourselves, but not even only for 43 million other student loan borrowers in the country. We're in this for the whole entire country, for all of the citizens, whether we're talking about credit cards, medical debt, or any other car loan, small business loan. No matter what kind of loan you're talking about, all loans are in great peril of being weaponized, unconstitutionally weaponized. And so this is a very important fight, guys. You guys have no idea. But we try and keep it simple for you here. These daily actions that we do are very well designed, very easy to do, very well targeted. I would also implore you, particularly if you are new to the group, to educate yourself just a little bit about this problem. And if you go to that platform right there, studentloanjustice.medium.com, I would urge you to read maybe the most recent 5, 6, 7 articles that we've written. They are all very true, very, very easily vetted and confirmed. Most of them are based on nothing more than publicly available federal data. And by the way, we've written books, we've been featured, interviewed on many national documentaries, top story on 60 Minutes, believe it or not, many years ago. We've broken some of the most important stories in higher education over the past 18 years. So you can trust that the claims that are made in those articles there are very true. And most of them are unreported. I kid you not. So the mainstream media has gotten very terrible on this issue. And even the most jaw-dropping claims that we might make, for example, that the federal government has been making a profit on defaulted student loans for decades now, which is a very explosive claim if you know anything about finance. But it's very true. But the mainstream media, for whatever reason, like their paymasters probably, they don't want these truths known, apparently. They're up to this point have been unwilling to report many of the research findings that we've made. So check them out for yourself. It's incredibly interesting, even just intellectually. I think it's really interesting. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been doing this for 18 years. But you also may find it to be very both interesting, engaging, and quite frankly, shocking. What I do know is that you reading a few of our articles will go all the way necessary to make you a very fine, fit, and fierce student loan justice warrior. So, okay, I am now going to read your comments, which I've been lagging on. I apologize for that. Christina says, fellow rock and roller, we know how to do this. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else. Leslie Fishman says, what the F is this article published today with this Forbes magazine? I no longer read Forbes magazine. I used to write at Forbes magazine, Leslie. Forbes magazine is completely and absolutely swamp nonsense. All the guys that write about student loans for Forbes, they make their money in one way or another through debt lawyering or debt coaching. Those people are absolute sycophants for the federal student loan program. They are garbage. And the facts that they claim, it's all spin, guys. Forbes is disgusting. I never even bother to read them anymore, unless they're claiming to be breaking some actual news, which they never do. They're just disgusting. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. But, our opposition obviously has no shame, ladies and gentlemen. And, I can show you headlines. Like before the election, there was a Forbes headline that said, Biden affirms that he will cancel student loan debt uh, broadly, or something like that. So President Biden promises to cancel student loan debt broadly. That was the Forbes headline before the election. After the election, I can show you a Forbes headline that says, no, Biden never promised to cancel your student loan debt. So Forbes obviously wanted Biden to win the presidential election last time for whatever reason. But that just goes to show you it's not even yellow journalism. It's worse than yellow journalism. It's not just like fantasy. It's like straight up lies for a political or other goal. And I'm telling you guys, the people at Forbes, their goal is to make as much money as possible from the federal and the private student loan programs, private student loans and the federal student loan program. So I don't even like to talk about Forbes because it makes me angry. As I said, I used to write at Forbes, and then the president of Sallie Mae had my editor to lunch. And I never wrote at Forbes magazine after that fateful lunch with the Sallie Mae president. Disgusting. Yeah. So I see a little back and forth on the group between our members, and I'm not going to trot those out for public consumption. Joanna says, an employee from somebody's office. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, get us into meetings with both of your representatives. Both of your senators and your House representative. I think that's what Joanna's talking about. Yeah, Matt Gaetz, we would love to meet with. Matt Gaetz should be on our side. He has said very good things in the past. Again, we're not a Republican group, dudes. We're not conservative. We're not liberal. We only care about solving the student loan problem. And people like Matt Gaetz and Josh Hawley, John Cornyn, and many, many other Republicans, they're going to become very important to us going forward. It is absolutely crucial that we get into meaningful discussions with them or their staff. So I just can't I can't emphasize that enough. So, okay, guys, I think I'm at my time. I'm past my time, but I hope that you heard what I said tonight. I know I talk a little fast and I sort of overwhelm people with a lot of information. Rewind this live stream if you need my contact information again for when you set up a meeting with both of your senators and your House rep for us. And send me an email. You've got my email address now. You can send me an email if you have any questions or comments. I'm very happy to walk you through it. Ditto for the letters to the editor. And by the way, again, I salute everybody out there who's been doing the hard work. We're actually making things, we are moving this mountain, ladies and gentlemen. You have a lot to be proud of, but we've got a lot left to go. We're in this to win it, guys. We're not here to look good. We're not here to pimp this problem like the other groups I see out there are pimping this problem. They don't actually want to solve it because they're making too much money off of it by selling your ass to loan consolidation companies and debt coaches and you name it. We don't do any of those dirty tricks. The other groups, quite frankly, they're corrupted beyond anything you can imagine. Anyways, this group is not corrupted. This group is fighting only and absolutely for the people, and I hope that you can appreciate that. And more than that, the last thing I will say again for the third time, I hope that you will do that GoFundMe thing for our van, because we are only and exactly as strong as you make us. That could be very, very, very strong. That could be stronger than any political movement in modern American history. We could have 38 million other distressed student loan borrowers in our little club. But it all depends on how hard you fight. We are the pioneers, guys. We are the pioneers. And you can't unhear that. So I hope you'll live up to that responsibility, because there are a lot of people whose lives are going to be greatly impacted depending on our success or failure. Let's choose that first thing. Let's choose to succeed. You need to punch a little above your weight because, as I said, you, whether you, and you can't unhear this, you are a pioneer just being here tonight. And so we have to fight, as I said, a little above our weight. So I will be back, I believe, tomorrow with special guest Gordon Wayne Watts from Florida. We have a lot to talk about with Florida. Florida is a very important state. So tune in tomorrow. It'll be around 6:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. And keep fighting this fight, guys. We need you. We love you. We can do nothing without you. You have no idea how important you are. So take heart. Let's get into this fight. Get your back into it. Let's get to work. Don't be lazy. We need you. We love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. God bless. And Godspeed, everyone.